The planet Virelia was dying. Its skies, once a swirling dance of green and gold clouds, were now dull and gray. The oceans had begun to recede, leaving vast cracks in the ground where water once shimmered. Life, as the Virelians had known it for millennia, was fading. Every day the temperature swung unpredictably. Violent storms tore across the surface, and strange, creeping diseases were spreading among both wildlife and the native population. On the surface, the city of Zarathia, once a beacon of knowledge and beauty, stood silent. The towers were cracked, their metal frames warped from years of neglect and environmental strain. Smoke rose from energy plants that were failing, and the air was thick with dust. Few Virelians moved through the streets. Most stayed inside, conserving energy and waiting for something, anything, to save them. In the heart of the capital, in a massive command tower that had once gleamed with polished metal and vibrant lights, a council of elders met. They were the Zarathi, a species of tall, elegant beings with translucent skin that showed faint patterns of veins glowing in shades of blue. Their eyes were large and expressive, able to convey a depth of emotion that words often could not. Elder Calith looked out through the cracked glass dome at the dying horizon. "We cannot hold much longer," she said, her voice calm but trembling. "The atmosphere is collapsing faster than predicted. Our energy reserves are nearly gone. Soon, life on this planet will be impossible." Elder Ravon, seated beside her, shook his head. "We have tried everything, our machines, our medicines, our shields. Nothing works. The council, they will not help. They consider us too minor, too small. Our pleas will go unheard." Calith's eyes narrowed. "Then we have no choice. We must call for help ourselves. If the Galactic Council refuses, we must reach out beyond their influence. There may be others who still care." Ravon's antennae twitched nervously. Others? Who would answer? Who knows the depths of space as we do? Who could even hear us? Calith turned to the massive holographic map hovering in the center of the room. Stars and planets floated in blue light, each one a potential source of aid or danger. Her claws hovered over the controls as she activated the signal matrix. "We send a distress call," she said firmly. "A call not just to the Council, but to any intelligent life capable of responding. We cannot wait for permission. We cannot wait for approval. Virelia must survive." For hours, the command tower hummed with energy. The signal stretched across the galaxy, reaching into sectors where no Zarathi ship had ever traveled. The message was clear. Virelia is dying. Help us. It carried not only coordinates, but every detail of the planet's failing systems, the dangers to life, and the urgent need for intervention. Then they waited. Days passed. Weeks passed. The cities continued to crumble, the storms grew stronger, and the people grew weaker. The elders began to lose hope. Every message sent back from potential allies, every probe or attempt at communication, was met with silence. And then, one day in the gray haze of Virelia's sky, a ship appeared. It was unlike any vessel the Zarathi had ever seen. It was sleek, yet massive, glinting with metal that seemed to shine even under the gray clouds. Its shape was unfamiliar, not like the angular, multi-layered designs common to the Council's fleets. There were no flags, no symbols of allegiance, and yet it moved with confidence, cutting through the atmosphere as if it belonged there. From the observation deck, Calith and Raven watched in disbelief. "It can't be," Ravon whispered. "They are not Council. Who? What are they?" The ship descended, landing near one of the largest surviving energy hubs. As it touched the ground, panels slid open and a ramp extended. Out came beings the Zarathi had only ever seen in ancient stories and holovids, humans. They were smaller than the Zarathi, but strong and purposeful. Their suits were clean, practical, and designed for extreme conditions. They carried tools and devices, scanning equipment that flickered with lights and symbols unfamiliar to the aliens. There was no hesitation in their movements, no fear of the crumbling city or the harsh storms. Kalith approached cautiously, her antennae twitching nervously. One of the humans noticed her and stepped forward. He removed his helmet, revealing a face with pale skin and sharp eyes. He smiled, not arrogantly, but reassuringly. "Are you the ones who sent the distress call?" he asked in perfect galactic. "Basic, the common language of spacefaring civilizations." Kalith nodded, surprised at their understanding. Yes, we are the Zarathi. We have called for help. You have come." The human's smile widened slightly. "We came. You needed help. That's enough reason." There was no hidden agenda, no hesitation, no questioning of the right to intervene. Kalith felt a strange mix of relief and awe. She had expected the council, or perhaps mercenaries or opportunists, but not beings who would simply act. Over the next hours, the humans began assessing the damage. They moved with incredible efficiency, organizing teams and deploying equipment to stabilize critical systems. They entered hazardous zones, repairing energy conduits and atmospheric regulators that the Zarathi themselves had abandoned as too dangerous. Ravon observed, his skepticism slowly fading. "Their methods, they are unlike anything we know. They adapt, they improvise, they do not fear the unknown." Kalith nodded, her eyes following a group of humans moving into a collapsing energy plant. Sparks flew, and a section of the roof threatened to fall, but they pressed forward. Within moments, a pulse of energy stabilized the structure, and the lights flickered back to life. The humans emerged, dusty but unharmed, already communicating silently and moving on to the next task. The Zarathi had never seen anything like it. They had always relied on rules, protocols, and the authority of the Galactic Council. Yet these humans seemed to operate without hesitation, guided by something deeper, an instinct to act, to solve problems, to save lives. That night, Kalith and Ravon met in the council chamber, overlooking the human teams working tirelessly across the city. "They are extraordinary," Kalith said quietly. "They act without permission, without concern for status or politics. They do what must be done, and nothing else." Ravon sighed. "I do not understand them, yet I feel hope for the first time in years. Perhaps this planet can survive." Far above Virelia, the human ship hummed quietly. Its crew worked in shifts, monitoring systems, repairing machines, and preparing for whatever the planet might throw at them next. They were calm, confident, and ready. They had seen desperation before, but it never stopped them. And on the ground, the Zarathi began to realize something remarkable. For the first time in centuries, they were not alone. In their darkest hour, help had come. From a species they barely understood, yet could not help but respect. Somewhere deep in the human ship's command center, the captain looked at a screen displaying the planet's failing core systems. He tapped a few commands, and a soft hum filled the room as machines responded. "Let's see what we can do," he said simply. It was not a statement of power or superiority. It was a promise. And for the first time in generations, Virelia had a chance. The Zarathi watched the humans with a mixture of awe and disbelief. These small, strange beings had arrived without political motives, without arrogance, and without hesitation. They simply acted. And as the first humans ventured into the most dangerous zones of the city, Kalith whispered to herself, almost as if testing the words, "Perhaps. This is what we needed all along." Above them, the gray sky began to clear, slightly, as if responding to the energy and determination of those who refused to wait. A flicker of green appeared on the horizon, a small, fragile sign that life and hope could still endure. The first part of the story closed on the arrival of the humans, setting the stage for the incredible journey of collaboration, bravery, and discovery that was about to unfold. The morning light struggled to pierce the gray clouds over Viralia, but the humans worked as if the sun had already risen. Their movements were precise and purposeful, almost like a dance of skill, courage, and determination. The Zerathi watched from the edges of the city, still unsure if they could fully trust these strange beings, yet unable to tear their eyes away. A human engineer, Lieutenant Mara Kellen, crouched next to a crumbling atmospheric stabilizer. Sparks flew as she connected a series of cables to a small device that hummed with energy. With a few precise adjustments, the stabilizer whirred to life, pumping clean, breathable air into the nearby districts. "This is incredible," murmured Elder Calith, watching from a distance. "They can repair machines that have been dead for centuries." Ravon, standing beside her, nodded slowly. "Not just repair, they improve them. Look at the pulse frequency she just applied. It's advanced, yet simple." Mara glanced up, noticing the curious Zerathi observing her. She smiled warmly, wiping sweat from her brow. "Don't worry. We're here to help, not judge. You've done a lot already. We're just giving it a little push." The words, simple yet filled with sincerity, left the Zerathi speechless. For generations, they had relied on bureaucracies and council approvals. Now, here were beings who acted immediately, without hesitation or politics. The idea was foreign, yet somehow deeply reassuring. Meanwhile, elsewhere in the city, Captain Elias Drake led a team toward the most damaged energy plant in Zerathia. The building groaned under the weight of failing machinery and structural cracks. Sections of the roof had collapsed, and streams of toxic gas escaped from ruptured pipes. The Zerathi engineers had long abandoned this sector, deeming it impossible to repair without risking lives. But Drake's team moved in confidently, scanning the structure with devices that projected holographic schematics in midair. "Keep your eyes open," Drake instructed. "We've got limited time before the structural integrity fails completely. Move fast, but smart." The humans advanced, carefully navigating broken platforms and avoiding unstable sections. One misstep could have been fatal, yet they moved with grace and confidence. Mara used a portable drone to inspect a particularly unstable ceiling panel, then guided the team to reinforce it with a lightweight, super-strong material. Within moments, the section was secure. A group of Zerathi watched in awe. How do they do this?" whispered one of the younger citizens. "No one in our history has dared enter such a place without hesitation." Calith responded quietly. "They do not fear because they act with purpose, not because they are blind to danger. They think, and then they act." As the humans worked, they also began teaching the Zerathi small techniques, not out of arrogance, but as part of their method. Mara handed a portable repair tool to a curious young engineer named Liren. "Here," she said. "Try this. Focus on the energy pulses, match the rhythm to the system. Don't force it. Guide it." Liren hesitated, but under Mara's gentle encouragement, he followed the instructions. The device responded immediately, stabilizing a secondary system. His eyes widened in amazement. I never thought it could be this simple." "That's the human way," Mara replied, smiling. "We solve problems with what we have. We adapt. If one thing doesn't work, we try another. You don't need to wait for permission or a perfect plan." Calith and Ravon exchanged glances. The Zerathi had always valued careful planning and hierarchical approval. But here, in front of them, was proof that improvisation, courage, and direct action could save lives where protocol could not. Hours turned into a day, and the humans did not stop. They moved from sector to sector, repairing power lines, stabilizing water systems, and purifying contaminated air. Every action was deliberate, every movement efficient. They were not just helping, they were teaching, inspiring, and showing the Zarathi that hope was not lost. In the city's central plaza, Drake paused for a moment. A massive storm was forming, its dark clouds swirling violently above. Lightning cracked across the sky, threatening the repaired sections. He looked at the Zarathi, observing him. "Storm's coming," he said simply. "We have two choices, hide or act. We act." With that, the human teams split, moving in different directions to secure the most vulnerable structures. Mara led a group to stabilize the water purification system, which had been failing for days. Pipes hissed and groaned as they worked, yet the humans remained calm, focused, and unshakable. Their determination inspired the Zarathi to assist, following instructions carefully and gaining confidence with each success. As the storm hit, the humans moved through the rain and wind without hesitation. They coordinated silently, using hand signals and brief commands, showing a level of teamwork that the Zarathi had rarely witnessed. The storm's full force battered the city, but slowly, block by block, the humans restored critical infrastructure, preventing further collapse. Later, as the storm subsided, Kalith walked through the city streets alongside Ravon. She observed Zarathi citizens emerging from shelters, looking at repaired buildings and functioning systems with wonder. "I had feared we would lose everything," she said softly. "Yet they have brought hope where we saw none." Ravon nodded. "Hope and more. They have reminded us that action, courage, and intelligence combined can overcome despair. They are unlike any beings we have met." That evening, the human teams gathered near the command tower. Drake addressed his crew. "We've made a lot of progress today, but there's still much to do. Tomorrow, we push into the energy core sectors. Those are dangerous, but if we stabilize them, the planet will have a chance to recover." Mara checked her equipment and nodded. "We're ready. We do this together, humans and Zarathi alike. Everyone who wants to help, now is the time." The Zarathi elders observing the humans, commitment finally stepped forward. Kalith addressed the gathered humans, her voice filled with newfound respect. "Your courage, your skill, your determination, it is unlike anything we have seen. You are not only saving our planet, but you are changing the way we see life itself." Drake smiled simply. "We're just doing what anyone should do. Life is worth saving, and sometimes you have to go where others fear to tread." The words resonated deeply with the Zarathi. It was not an act of superiority or conquest. It was a promise, a lesson in morality and bravery. The humans acted not for power, reward, or glory, but because it was the right thing to do. As night fell, the city glowed with the flickering light of repaired systems. The air felt cleaner. The streets felt safer, and for the first time in years, a fragile sense of normalcy returned. The humans continued their work, undeterred by fatigue or danger. They moved with purpose, each step a silent declaration. Veralia would not die today, not while they were here. Above the city, the human ship hovered quietly, its lights scanning the planet's surface. Inside, sensors showed improvements in atmospheric stability, energy flow, and structural integrity. It was progress, but they knew the planet was still far from fully safe. They also knew that the true challenge was yet to come. For the Zarathi, this day would be remembered forever. They had witnessed courage, ingenuity, and morality embodied in beings from another world. They had seen humans act where others would have hesitated, and they had felt a glimmer of hope that they thought was lost forever. Kalith turned to Raven, her eyes reflecting the city lights. "We called for help, she said softly. And we were not abandoned. They have come. Only humans came. Ravon smiled, a rare expression of relief crossing his features, and perhaps only humans could have. They act where others would wait, decide where others would hesitate, and give hope where none existed. We are lucky indeed. The night was quiet, but not empty. Somewhere in the distance, humans continued their work, moving through the city, with calm determination. They were small, strange, and unfamiliar, but their presence alone inspired awe and hope. The planet Virelia was slowly breathing again. The air felt lighter, and patches of green were beginning to reappear across the barren landscape. Yet the calm was fragile. Storms still roared in distant regions, and energy systems flickered in places the humans had yet to repair. The city of Zerathia, though partially restored, remained a ghost of its former glory. Above the planet, in the quiet of space, a fleet of sleek ships appeared on the sensors of the human vessel. Captain Elias Drake narrowed his eyes, scanning the incoming vessels. "New traffic," he said calmly. "But they're not just passing by, they're holding formation." Lieutenant Mara Kellen joined him at the control panel. "They're not Zerathi," she observed, her brow furrowed. "The design, it's consistent with Galactic Council warships." Drake's jaw tightened. "Then the Council has finally noticed. Good or bad. Depends on how they approach." Far below, the Zerathi had begun to hear of the Council's reaction. The elders gathered in their command tower, anxiety etching their features. "They are sending observers," Caliph said. "They know humans are here. They will demand compliance or worse." Ravon's antennae twitched nervously. "Do you think the humans will fight them? The Council's fleet is vast. Our technology is primitive compared to theirs." Caliph shook her head slowly. "I do not know. But I do know this. Humans act differently. They do not hesitate, they do not fear, and they do not wait for permission. That is something we have not seen before." Meanwhile, on the surface, the human teams continued their work with the same quiet efficiency. Mara and her engineers moved into a collapsing energy sector, carefully stabilizing reactors that had been on the verge of meltdown. Sparks flew and alarms blared, yet they pressed on, unshaken. Lirin, the young Zerathi engineer, followed closely, trying to learn from the humans. "I do not understand," he admitted. "These systems, they were dead. How can they come alive? Again?" Mara smiled, guiding his hands to a set of controls. "You have to listen to them. Every system has a rhythm, a pulse. Once you find it, it responds. Don't force it, just guide it." The reactor stabilized with a soft hum. Lirin's eyes widened. I think I understand now." "Good," Mara said. "That's how humans approach problems. Step by step, observe, adapt, act." But the human progress had not gone unnoticed. From their fleet above, the Council vessels analyzed the situation. Their sensors picked up active human repairs across the city, stabilizing power grids and purifying the air. The Council had always viewed the Zerathi as minor players, inconsequential in the larger galactic order. Yet here were humans, intervening in a sector the Council had ignored for decades. Admiral Vorth, commanding the Council fleet, frowned as he watched the humans work. "They are efficient," he said to his lieutenants. "They act without oversight, without permission, and they succeed. That is unacceptable. We cannot allow this interference." A younger officer, uneasy, spoke up. "Admiral, the humans are saving the planet. If we intervene, we risk conflict with a species far more capable than we imagined." Vorth's eyes narrowed. "We risk nothing if we act carefully. Humans do not understand hierarchy. They will respect power only if it is demonstrated. Prepare a warning fleet. Let them know the Council is watching. Make it clear. Compliance is expected. On the planet, tension grew as word spread of approaching Council forces. The Zarathi were torn between awe for the humans and fear of the incoming fleet. Many elders worried that the humans' boldness would provoke a response that could destroy. Virelia Calith turned to Drake, who had come down to discuss the next stage of repairs. Captain, your actions. The Council. They will not take kindly to your interference. You risk provoking them. Drake's expression was calm, almost unnervingly so. We didn't come here to ask permission. We came to save lives. If the Council doesn't like it, that's their problem, not ours. We do what's necessary. Calith studied him, her heart pounding. Humans. They truly were different. Their morality was simple yet profound. Life is worth saving, no matter the politics or the risks. The concept was alien but inspiring. As the Council fleet entered orbit, they broadcast a message. Humans, cease intervention immediately. This sector is under Council jurisdiction. Compliance is mandatory. Drake listened, then replied through the communication channel. We are here to help the inhabitants of Virelia. We will continue our work. Interference is not our goal, but we will not abandon those who cannot defend themselves. The Council's sensors monitored as humans moved undeterred across the planet. They repaired energy cores, stabilized the atmosphere, and coordinated with the Zarathi to protect vulnerable districts. Each success was a blow to the Council's expectation that humans would yield to authority. Among the Zarathi, a shift was occurring. Citizens who had once believed the Council was the ultimate authority now watched humans with growing admiration and hope. Young engineers learned techniques from the humans, adopting improvisational methods that had previously been foreign. Citizens helped where they could, motivated not by orders, but by the humans' example. Ravon approached Calith during a brief pause. Do you see it? They are teaching our people. Not just saving them, but inspiring them. The Zarathi will not forget this. Calith nodded, her eyes scanning the stormy horizon. Indeed, they are not just saviors, they are teachers, leaders, and examples of courage. The Council may see only defiance, but we see hope. The first direct challenge came when a Council strike ship attempted to block human engineers from entering a hazardous energy core. Mara's team paused as the Council ship hovered above, weapons ready. Drake approached the communication console. We don't want conflict, he said, but we will not leave these reactors to fail. Step aside. The Council responded with a warning shot. The ground shook, sparks flew, and Zarathi civilians screamed, retreating to safe zones. But the humans didn't panic. They moved quickly, synchronizing their actions. Drones deployed, creating temporary shields and stabilizing sections of the core. Their speed and precision baffled the Council observers. Admiral Vorth watched, his frustration mounting. These humans, they do not fight like anyone we know. They are calm, strategic, and fearless. They adapt. Drake, on the surface, guided his team with quiet authority. Keep moving. Protect the civilians. Stabilize the core. Nothing else matters. The humans succeeded in securing the energy core despite the Council's interference. The ship retreated, temporarily frustrated but unable to overcome the humans' adaptability. Calith, watching the success unfold, whispered, They have faced a superior force and still saved lives. This is beyond anything we imagined. Ravon's voice was awed. Perhaps this is why they came, not just to help, but to remind us that courage, morality, and intelligence can overcome even the greatest threats. As night fell, the humans continued repairing systems, guiding the Zarathi, and reinforcing structures across Zarathia. The city, battered and bruised, began to feel alive again. In the quiet moments, Mara spoke to a group of young Zarathi engineers. You see, helping is not about power. It's about seeing a problem, understanding it, and acting. Fear is natural, doubt is natural, but you act anyway. That is what makes change possible. Her words resonated deeply. For the Zarathi, long used to waiting for permission, it was revolutionary. The humans were teaching more than engineering. They were teaching courage, morality, and independence. High above, the council fleet retreated for the night, wary of human methods. They had underestimated a species that acted without hesitation, solved problems efficiently, and saved lives without expecting reward. The Zarathi elders met in the council chamber late at night. Kalith spoke, her voice quiet but firm. We called for help, fearing we were alone. We expected bureaucracy, politics, maybe even indifference. Instead, humans arrived. They act where others hesitate. They fight where others watch. They save where others abandon. Perhaps they are exactly what we needed. Ravon nodded. They are not like anyone we have known. If we continue to follow their example, Virelia may survive. And maybe one day we will understand what true courage and wisdom look like. Far below, the humans rested briefly, preparing for the next day. They did not boast. They did not claim glory. They simply understood their mission: save lives. And in doing so, they had become a force that neither council nor chaos could easily ignore. As Virelia slept under the fragile glow of repaired systems, a quiet truth settled across the planet. In the darkest hour, humans acted when no one else would, teaching a dying world the meaning of courage and hope. The next morning, the city of Zarathia hummed with renewed life. Sparks of light flickered across repaired streets and energy grids, signaling that the humans' work was far from complete, but already remarkable. The air was cleaner, the water flowing, and the dangerous sections of the city stabilized. Yet the shadow of the Galactic Council fleet remained above Virelia, a constant reminder that their work would not go unnoticed or uncontested. Captain Elias Drake stood on a balcony, overlooking the city, scanning the skies. The Council vessels had not approached directly overnight, but sensors showed they were still in orbit, analyzing human activity. They're watching, he said simply. We can't let their hesitation slow us down. We act now and decisively. Lieutenant, Mara Kellen nodded. The energy cores in the northern sector are still unstable. If we don't secure them, the planet's recovery could fail. We need to move fast before the Council interferes again. Drake's eyes narrowed. Then let's show them why humans don't wait. The humans split into coordinated teams, each moving into dangerous zones. They used drones to inspect crumbling infrastructure and portable devices that emitted stabilizing energy pulses to reinforce failing systems. Their methods were unlike anything the Zarathi had seen. Where the Council relied on overwhelming force, humans relied on ingenuity, adaptability, and teamwork. Zarathi citizens followed cautiously, assisting where they could. Liren, the young engineer, ran alongside Mara's team, eager to learn. Your methods. They are so different from ours, he said, his voice full of awe. How do you know what will work? Mara smiled. We try. If it doesn't work, we try something else. We observe, adapt, and act. We don't let fear stop us. And we don't wait for perfect conditions. Life doesn't wait. So neither do we. As they moved through the northern sector, a massive energy core began to falter. Sparks flew, alarms blared, and the ground trembled. Mara's team quickly assessed the problem. This section is collapsing, she said. We need to stabilize the main conduit and redirect energy before it triggers a chain reaction. Drake, arriving with another team, surveyed the situation. We'll do it together. You handle the conduit, we'll manage the energy flow. Within moments, the humans began their work. Liren watched in amazement as devices hummed and lights pulsed, stabilizing the core. The structure shook violently, but the humans remained calm, issuing brief commands and adjusting equipment with practiced precision. One by one, the energy lines were repaired. The core stabilized. The sector, once on the brink of catastrophic collapse, now hummed steadily with energy. Zarathi citizens cheered quietly, realizing that the humans had saved them again. From orbit, the Council fleet observed the repair. Admiral Vorth's eyes narrowed as he reviewed sensor data. "They are faster, smarter, and remarkably calm under pressure," he muttered. "Our weapons are meaningless if they can act this efficiently. Humans, they are unpredictable. They adapt to every obstacle we throw at them." Vorth ordered a warning transmission. "Humans of Virelia, cease all activity immediately. The Galactic Council is the authority here. Any resistance will be met with force." Drake responded, his voice steady and firm. "We do not seek conflict. We seek to save lives. If saving lives conflicts with your authority, then that is your choice, not ours. We will continue our work." The Council hesitated. These humans did not fight for domination or power. They fought for life. They did not yield, did not retreat, and most importantly, did not panic. Each council tactic, each threat, was met with calm precision. On the ground, Kalith observed the interaction with mixed awe and concern. "They do not fear the council," she whispered. "They do not bend to authority. Yet, they do not act recklessly. Every action is measured, deliberate and effective." Ravon added quietly, "It is as if they have a sixth sense for danger and for what must be done. They are extraordinary." As the day progressed, the humans continued to repair critical infrastructure, guided by both their experience and the instructions of the local Zarathi engineers. Their methods were not just efficient, they were creative. Mara used a small portable generator to reroute energy through failing conduits, something no Zarathi engineer had thought possible. Drake and his team reinforced crumbling buildings with materials that absorbed seismic shocks, preventing further collapses during minor tremors. By late afternoon, the humans moved toward the northern water reservoirs. These reservoirs had been compromised during the storms, threatening the survival of thousands. The Council fleet, still observing, attempted to deploy a blockade to slow human access. Drake lifted his hand, and a team of drones spread out, creating protective energy shields around the humans. The shields absorbed debris and lightning strikes, allowing the teams to repair the reservoirs without interruption. Each action was deliberate, coordinated, and effective. The Zarathi could not help but marvel. "They do not rely on the power of their ships or weapons," Kalith said softly. "They rely on their minds, their hands, and their courage. That is new to us." As night fell, the humans finished repairs in the northern sector. The water flowed clean and steady, energy. Systems hummed and the air felt breathable. The city of Zarathia, though still scarred, had been stabilized to a degree previously thought impossible. Drake addressed the remaining human teams. "We've done what we can for today. Tomorrow we push into the core city sectors. More work, more danger, but also more lives to save. Remember, plan, adapt, act, and never underestimate what you can achieve." Mara and the other team leaders nodded. "Understood," she said. "We'll be ready." Back in the Council fleet, Admiral Vorth studied the data. "Humans. They are unlike any species we have encountered. They do not fear. They do not obey blindly, and they achieve the impossible. This is dangerous, not for them, but for us. If we underestimate them, the balance of power in this sector could shift." He ordered a withdrawal for the night, hoping the humans would not notice the subtle retreat. Yet the humans had already anticipated it. They knew that the Council observed, and they adjusted their strategy, ensuring that critical systems were secure even if interference occurred again. Calith met with Drake and Mara near the city's central plaza. "Captain, Lieutenant," she said, "you have done what we thought impossible. You have faced the Council and yet continued to save lives. The Zarathi. We have never seen such courage and ingenuity." Drake shook his head. "We're just doing what anyone should do. We act because life matters. If others hesitate, we act anyway." The elders were silent, absorbing the words. It was not arrogance. They felt the truth in his statement. Humans did not act for power, for politics, or for glory. They acted because it was right. That night, a quiet sense of victory settled over Zarathia. The humans rested briefly, preparing for the next day's challenges, while the Council fleet remained distant, wary, and frustrated. The Zarathi began to speak among themselves, spreading stories of human bravery, creativity, and morality. Young engineers discussed techniques they had learned, while citizens marveled at the humans' calm resolve. Calith reflected on the day. They have taught us something beyond repairs and technology. They have taught us courage, ingenuity, and hope. Perhaps they are not just helpers. Perhaps they are the future we never expected. Ravon nodded slowly. Yes, and in teaching us this, they have shown that even a dying world can rise again, if those willing to act boldly and wisely. Above the city, the human ship scanned the horizon one last time before resting. Its crew had proven their value not only to the Zarathi, but to the galaxy itself. They had faced bureaucracy, threats, and a superior fleet, and yet they had prevailed without unnecessary conflict. Their calm, clever, and moral approach had saved countless lives, stabilized a dying city, and left the Council wary and uncertain. Dawn broke over Veralia, painting the sky in shades of green and gold, the first real colors the planet had seen in decades. The air was cleaner, the water flowed, and the once fractured city of Zarathia hummed with life. Humans and Zarathi worked side by side, repairing streets, stabilizing energy grids, and purifying contaminated zones. Captain Elias Drake stood at the command center of the human ship, watching the city below. "We've done what we can for now," he said quietly. "Tomorrow we focus on the energy core, the heart of the planet. If we stabilize it, Veralia will survive." Lieutenant Mara Kellen, monitoring the northern reservoirs, nodded. "The people are ready. They've learned a lot from us. Together we can do this." Calith and Ravon joined them. Calith's translucent skin glimmered in the morning light, her expression a mix of hope and caution. "Captain, the Council fleet remains in orbit. They are monitoring every action. They may attempt interference again." Drake's eyes were calm. "Let them watch. We will not stop. The lives of this planet come first." The humans split into teams, each moving toward a different sector of the city, preparing for the final repairs. Mara's group focused on stabilizing the water systems, while Drake led another team to the planet's central energy core. The Zarathi followed, eager to contribute. Their knowledge of the planet combined with the humans' ingenuity created an unstoppable force. As the teams reached the core, alarms blared. The Council fleet, now aware of the humans' intentions, deployed a series of warning drones attempting to block access. Drake looked at Mara. "Time to show them why humans act differently." The humans moved without hesitation. Drones were deployed to intercept the Council devices, shielding the teams. Portable energy barriers absorbed impacts, and advanced stabilization tools reinforced the failing structures. Each movement was precise, coordinated, and deliberate. The Council's attempts to intimidate or slow them down failed. Above, Admiral Vorth watched the unfolding events, frustration etched on his face. "How can they defy us so calmly? They are saving lives while we attempt control. They do not act out of fear or obedience. They act out of..." conviction. This is dangerous, unpredictable, unacceptable. Back on the ground, Mara and her team reached the energy core's central conduit. Sparks flew and the ground trembled, but they were undeterred. "We stabilize this section first," Mara instructed. "Then we redirect energy through the auxiliary circuits. Everyone ready?" Liren, now more confident in his skills, nodded. "I am ready." Mara handed him a control module. "Follow my instructions. You'll see how it works." Step by step, the conduit was reinforced. The humans guided the Zarathi in synchronizing energy pulses. Slowly, the core stabilized, its energy flow smoothing out like the heartbeat of a living organism. As the work continued, the Council attempted to broadcast another warning, threatening to deploy armed ships. Drake ignored it. "We are here to protect life," he said, "not to start a war. We will not retreat." And then something remarkable happened. The humans' methods, efficient, creative, and fearless, began to inspire the Zarathi on a scale the planet had never seen. Citizens from across Zarathia brought tools, materials, and supplies to support the effort. Engineers who had once hesitated to take action now worked alongside humans, stabilizing secondary systems. Even young children helped where they could, passing small components or monitoring gauges under supervision. Kalith watched, tears in her glowing eyes. They are not only saving the planet, they are awakening our people. They have shown us courage, action, and hope. Ravon nodded. They are teaching us to believe in ourselves, to act even when fear grips us. The Council, observing from orbit, was growing more uneasy. Their attempts to assert control were failing. The humans were faster, smarter, and more adaptable than any strategy the Council had anticipated. Each attempt to block, intimidate, or delay them only highlighted human ingenuity and courage. Drake's team reached the central energy matrix. The structure was unstable, threatening to collapse with any misstep. "We need to coordinate every pulse," he instructed. "Mara, take the auxiliary systems. I'll handle the main core. Zarathi, support us where you can, but follow instructions exactly." The teams worked in perfect synchronization. Sparks flew, energy surged, and the ground trembled. Yet humans remained calm, issuing concise commands and adjusting systems with confidence. Slowly, the energy matrix stabilized. The heartbeat of the planet, once weak and faltering, now pulsed steadily, its rhythm strong and steady. Cheers erupted from the Zarathi citizens, their voices echoing through the city. They had witnessed something extraordinary. Humans had faced the impossible, defied the Council's threats, and restored life to a dying world. High above, the Council fleet retreated slightly, unwilling to risk confrontation. Admiral Vorth realized the truth. These humans were not just capable. They were unmatched in determination, skill, and moral clarity. Any attempt to challenge them would risk a disaster the Council could not control. Kalith turned to Drake. "Captain, you have done what none of us imagined possible. Viralia, it lives because of you and your people." Drake shook his head. "We didn't do it for praise. We did it because it was right. The people of this planet deserve a chance. That's all that matters." Mara smiled. "And now they have that chance. But they also have something else. Something more important. They have hope. And hope can rebuild worlds faster than any technology." The Zarathi elders gathered, witnessing the transformation of their planet and their people. Citizens, once hopeless and afraid, now worked together, motivated by the humans' example. The Council's presence had become irrelevant. Life had taken the lead. In the following days, humans continued to train and guide the Zarathi, teaching them methods of repair, resource management, and problem-solving. Mara and Drake emphasized not just technical skill, but courage, adaptability, and moral responsibility. The Zarathi, inspired, began to embrace these principles, realizing that their survival depended on action, not passivity. The Council fleet, finally acknowledging their inability to interfere, left Virelia's orbit. They had underestimated humans. They had expected defiance, chaos, or fear, but not calm determination and moral clarity. Humans had saved a dying world without conquering it, without demanding control, and without fear. Kalith addressed her people in the central plaza, the city bustling with life and activity. For generations, we have awaited help, hoping others would save us. We thought survival depended on authority, bureaucracy, or power. Today, we have learned something different. Humans came, and they acted. They taught us courage, ingenuity, and hope. They have reminded us that even in the darkest hour, action and determination can create life where none seemed possible. The citizens cheered, their voices carrying across the city. They had witnessed history. They had seen beings from another world, small yet extraordinary, act when no one else would. Humans had not just saved them, they had inspired them. Drake, Mara, and the human team stood quietly, watching the celebration. They did not seek praise or recognition. Their mission had been completed, and lives had been saved. That was enough. As night fell, the city glowed with repaired lights and stabilized energy flows. For the first time in decades, Virelia seemed alive again, its people confident in their ability to face challenges and rebuild. The humans had left their mark, not just in repaired infrastructure, but in the hearts and minds of a species that had nearly lost hope. Kalith turned to Ravon, her glowing eyes reflecting the city lights. We called for help, fearing we were alone, and humans came. They have not only saved our world, they have changed it, and us, forever. Ravon nodded. Yes, and perhaps one day the galaxy will understand what we now know. When humans act, life finds a way. Above the city, the human ship prepared to depart. Its crew had completed their mission, leaving a thriving city and a grateful species behind. As they ascended into the stars, the people of Virelia looked up in awe and gratitude.